let's just go ahead and take you guys out of there for the first time in longer than I'd like to admit. I guess I don't really have to admit it, you already know because you haven't seen any new videos on this channel. This past week for me, at least work-wise, which is most of what we talk about on this channel, business stuff, was one of the worst ones since I moved into the van. Well, literally a second ago, there was a massive RV there. I guess they just left. So today I wanted to talk with you guys about the hardest part of van life for me, which was actually super surprising. And I don't know if it necessarily would have been the case if it wasn't for how I built out the van, but I also want to explain exactly how I'm overcoming this because I started that process this morning and I'm super excited for where it's going to lead. While we're talking about this process though, we're right now in the Sonoran Desert and there's some massive sequoias, so I want to go find one as we talk about what the problem actually is. Honestly, I thought that the hardest part about living there would be community. We don't have a lot of people that we can be around, and I'm a very independent person and I am an introvert, but I still love people and like to be around them. So that was something that I knew I would be missing as we moved into the van. And that definitely wasn't easy, but I don't think it's the biggest, man, everything out here wants to kill you in the desert. All these plants want to hurt you. But even though community is something that we've struggled with a little bit, we've been able to find a little on the road, and I've realized just how independent I really am, and so that's not been the biggest factor for me. On top of that though, there's also the van build. I built up the whole van myself. I have a video about that over here on another channel, which we're going to talk about later in the video, that I'm hoping to start working a lot more on here this year. But because I self-built it and everything happened pretty fast, there are some things that are broken, and literally just today, right after I got off the call, which I think is the solution to my problem, I had to fix like 3 different drawer slides because they all broke off, and one of them is still broken. I'll put some B-roll of that in here. But beyond all of that, there's the money issue. Luckily, living in a van isn't super expensive. I have a video about our budget that I did a while ago. Oh, there's a cactus. And like, it's pretty cheap to live in a van. You don't have a lot of expenses. Medical insurance is still pretty expensive, but we're honestly able to cover it pretty easily. Look at how big this guy is. This one isn't cool enough though, so we're gonna have to go find something else. And honestly though, man, I always want to talk to these. Also, kind of unrelated note, but since I've been playing some disc golf out here where there's cacti, and if you play disc golf, and like, just let me know where you are. I'd love to play with some of you guys if you guys do play, but I played and I had to go grab a disc and, oh, stop. Everything wants to hurt me. But I literally had cactus in my leg. I think it was right here for like 2 days that I realized while we were driving one day. I was like, oh, I got some spines in my leg. That's really dumb. Money. I was talking about money. But back on the money thought, there's some cool ones. I think my problem kind of is around money, but it's also in how I built out the van. So if you didn't know, I stopped doing YouTube or anything for about 45 days. YouTube, Amazon, I did nothing for almost 2 months. And during that time, I built out the van. The problem is that time is a very habit building time. Literally, if you do something for 45 days straight and you don't do other things and you're not very emotionally healthy about the way that you do it, you might not have the best habits when you come out of it. So I expected to get into the van, start working really well, and have life be easy. Oh, this thing is cool. What the heck? Oh, this looks so dangerous. That thing looks like it's gonna murder someone. Oh, so gnarly. What the heck? And I think I thought that because I had some major goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person. When I want to get something done, having goals are super helpful. And I had goals of leaving my job, and then goals of getting monetized on YouTube. And then I didn't really have any goals after I built out the van, which is one of the problems. Not the whole problem, it's also the habit building. But the other problem, which I know comes from a place that I'm really grateful for, is that we didn't really need to make any more money. We kind of were in a place where we could coast along, live out our van life. We wouldn't be able to invest a lot. We probably wouldn't be able to save a lot for a house, but I really don't have to work too much in the van because YouTube's at a pretty comfortable spot. My Amazon business is coasting for me, but work brings me a lot of joy. And I've realized over this long time that we've been in the van, almost 6 months now, that the hardest part of van life for me is that working sucks. Also, we made it. These things are gnarly. We're right around Saguaro National Forest for now. Whew. And so it's really cool to be out here and see all these things. I wish we were kind of in more of a forest of them, but they're still pretty close. Our van's not that far away. I can honestly say that over these past 6 months, van life has exceeded my expectations in terms of all the things that you think about when you move into a van, like traveling, getting to meet some cool people, go to amazing places, and like even the cheapness of it. It's not been very expensive except for the fact that we're really not good about not eating out because it's so easy to do so and we always blow our food budget, but we won't talk about that. One thing that I've consistently struggled with is working, which is really weird for me. I've always been a hard worker. I took a couple tests that were like personality-ish tests, which I'm normally not the biggest fan of, but they really show me a lot of things, and I always like to vet what they say against my experience, and I think a lot of it was true. A lot of it just showed me some things that I'm really strong in and some things that I'm really weak in. So I'm super motivated by goals and visions and innovating and making new things, and that's always been so exciting for me. And I've never had a super stick-to-it attitude. I'm not very good at like stick-to-itiveness or like grit, I guess, and that's always been something that I felt a little bit of shame over because I just want to persevere, and like I feel like that's a good thing to have. But as we get into this, and spoiler alert, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is my coaching that I'm going to be doing now, which I'm paying for professional coaching, because that's going to be a big difference for me. And I can already show you the ways as we had our first real coaching call today. And I'll share with you the major goals that I'm going to have. But I think the major takeaway is working with your weaknesses and towards your strengths. So like knowing where you're not good and understanding that so that you don't have to necessarily do things that you're not good at doing, not even necessarily outsourcing them, just finding structures and systems that will take into account the fact, like for me, I don't like structures and systems. Like I said, everything wants to kill you out here. Just the plants though. The Roadrunners are my buddies. But learning that, if we're talking about the DISC assessment, if you've ever heard of that, you might have taken some tests for that. I'm very high D, very low S, medium low I, and very middle C, meaning that I have like a very dominant kind of personality. I don't like people telling me what to do, which is why I work for myself, why I don't like having other responsibilities for other people. It's a very entrepreneurial typing. But I'm very low S, meaning that I love adaptability and change. I don't like doing one thing over and over again. I have very low kind of stamina to do that. I like to innovate and start over and make more stuff, and that's what excites me in my work. Also, being a low I means that I'm kind of chill with the status quo. Like my wife, Carissa, loves to go explore and do so many fun and cool things. And she pushes me to do that more. Like going to national parks, oftentimes she's the one who's planning that because that brings her so much joy. But for me, like I don't necessarily mind if we just chill in a Walmart parking lot for 3 days, which is kind of dumb. But it's also like kind of who I am, and coming to terms with that and understanding that that's just my personality. It's not like wrong, it's a neutral thing. It's like how I'm wired has been really helpful for me. What those things do is they show me that the way that I've been interacting with myself and my work makes sense when I take into consideration the way that I'm wired and the things that I like personality wise. Also, there's the van, you can probably see it. Where is it? Over there, can you see it? That's so freaking cool. I love this life. But I realized that I'm not great at working during this life because I don't mind the status quo, and van life has some unique challenges that weren't there when I was working. Focus, buddy, focus. In my apartment. You think a rattlesnake's gonna come out of that hole? That'd be kind of cool. Don't bite me. For instance, living in a van, like today, we had to go use the bathroom. We don't have a bathroom in our van. We got something to go number one. But if we need to do the other business, we literally had to drive for 45 minutes out of the way. If we need a shower, it normally takes us like an hour out of the way because we got to go to a Planet Fitness and shower. And these are the things that kind of create a pattern interrupt that the low I in me on that disc and like just the way that my personality is wired, it's hard to get back into the swing of things. On top of that, not having some super serious goals for myself recently because I've kind of achieved all of the smaller goals that I had has made it so that it's much easier to kind of get the satisfaction in small doses from like playing iPhone games and like watching YouTube videos. So that's what I spent almost the whole past week doing and really not being super healthy, which is why I haven't posted on YouTube. I literally did no work for like 7 or 8 days. And this whole no work thing was really a struggle that I've had for a while, and I've talked with my wife about it, especially as we were in Big Bend National Park on some hikes with no cell service, which is some of the things that I've talked about a lot in my 24-year-old video. Oh, this is a cool cactus that I put out on my 24th birthday about 24 things that have brought me to the life where I have now. But a lot of those realizations were very hard to be realized within myself because I don't have that fortitude and I'm not very good at work-life balance. So to help me with that, I hired a professional coach, and this is someone that I've known for a while. They are getting their coaching certificate. I think they have it already. And either way, I already know that they're a super wise person and a super helpful person, and I love their insight no matter what. And so them having this professional coaching certification and being a great listener has been so good because we talked through the assessments and like how my personality is wired, and he helped me a lot with that. And then today we got on a call and set 3 goals over the next 6 months because I'm paying him, hiring him for 6 months to help coach me, not only like to build a bigger business, but to do so in a way that I'm a better version of myself and am more there for Carissa, for my future family, so that I can build the habits that make me who I want to be, so that it's not just that I've achieved a goal, a result, but I've become the person who will do the work in a way that I achieve the results that I want and become better throughout it. So that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. I want to become better so that I'm the person who does the work and the work gives me the results. Let's talk about what those 3 goals are here real quick. If you have any questions about this journey, definitely let me know. I just really wanted to share that working in a van is not always the best. If you want to move into a van, the whole work side of things might be something that you have to worry about if you're wired personality-wise like me. Carissa doesn't have as big of an issue with working, but as someone who likes to have a separate space to work, it's kind of hard when I only have this one little area that I have to set up and tear down every single time that I want to work. I got this little swivel seat, and you probably see me do that before. And honestly, it's kind of hard for me to reach out for help sometimes, but the fact that I have such a little space to do work and I have to consistently set up and tear down, and just normal daily things like the bathroom and showering take so much longer now that we live in a van, since we have to to go somewhere to do those things rather than just into another room in our house. Hiring out to get this help I think is going to be by far the best decision that I make in my business, because it's not impossible for me or my personality type to work in the van. I just am not good at it, haven't built the habits to do it, and don't know how to do it by myself. And I could probably figure it out, but I don't feel like I have the discipline to. So paying someone to help coach me, because I know that they're qualified and they're good, but I have some skin in the game and some money on the line and some accountability because I don't want to let them down, is really going to be helpful for me. So let me just go over real quick what those 3 goals are so you can see what they are, and maybe make some goals for yourself. We call them series goals because they encapsulate a lot of what I want to happen, and they're much deeper than just like a number that I want to hit. It's more about who I want to become, like I said, so I can do the work to get the result that I want. So here are my 3 goals, and if you're still watching this video, thanks so much. I know that just means you support me a lot, and I know that you guys have been super supportive. And also thank you for 5,000 subscribers. I don't normally care about subscriber goals, but I think that that might be motivating just because it's a number to hit. So I might have some subscriber goals here in the future, just personally to hit. But 5,000 is such a big number, and I really appreciate all of you guys. So the first goal that we had was around getting work done and around YouTube. And like I talked about that other channel that I have where I have the van build out video, that's something that we want to work on a lot, and just to talk about our travels. But I've probably done less than 40 hours of work every single week, except for maybe like a couple since moving into the van. So the first goal is over the next 6 months, because that's how long our coaching contract is, I want to work intentionally and play appropriately so that I consistently and proactively produce content that I'm proud of on both YouTube channels. Because I know that making videos is obviously for you guys, but it's also something that's a creative outlet and expression for me as a person who loves innovating and who loves to teach and help. So the main tenets of that are working intentionally, because I have not been very intentional with the work, and playing appropriately, because I've been way overplaying and not spending my leisure time like I should be, and doing things that don't actually bring me joy, aren't actually good for me. And so playing appropriately is not only the amount of time, but the quality of play that I do. And then consistently and proactively, rather than reactively, creating content not only on this YouTube channel that you're watching now, but also on the Bodanzas, which is the other YouTube channel. We also have Instagram where we post a lot about what we're doing now, but YouTube content coming here soon. The second goal is over the next 6 months, I want to create multiple daily rhythms to reset and ensure what I do with the rest of my day brings me joy and satisfaction, especially when I get done with a task, like making a video. If it takes me 4 or 5 hours sometimes to make a video, sometimes less, when I finish that video, I feel very satisfied because I'm proud of a lot of the work that I do, and I'll put that up, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna take a little bit break and then get back to work. And that break, because I don't have a need to get back to work, I'm not relying on it for money, and I've already put out something that day, I just end up wasting away, and I'll just play games on my phone or watch YouTube videos and not actually do what I want. Ooh, wind is coming out. That feels so good. Not actually do what I'm wanting to do with my time. So creating rhythms, the first one to be in the morning when I wake up so I have some time to myself and to reflect and to take some notes of what I want to do for the day. Those rhythms are to reset. So literally put everything away, put my laptop away. I can take it back out if I want to, but putting everything away and cognizantly thinking about what I want to do for the day. And that can change, and that's totally cool. My personality is very much to change on a whim, and not even necessarily sometimes to know what that is. But that's just to make sure that with the rest of my day, so the past is in the past, whether it was good or bad in the past, I can't change it. But moving forward, I can change. And so the rest of my day, I want to do something that brings me joy and satisfaction. The third goal has to do with a couple of books, because one of the tests that I took was about emotional intelligence, and I was not super great about it. Which makes sense because of my past and upbringing, and Carissa can attest to that.
I think you're great.
You would dispute the test?
Yes.
She sounds very confident and not like she's trying to make me look good for the video. But I bought 2 books the same day as our first call, which is about those tests. And they are Permission to Feel and Mindset, which are just books that I think will help me to grow my emotional intelligence. So my third goal is over a 6-month time period to read and annotate these and to get better at EQ so that Carissa doesn't have to lie the next time I ask her if I'm alright about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So especially if your personality is like me, very entrepreneurial, not necessarily needing other people, always changing on a whim, I would definitely recommend getting a coach if you're struggling with working, and if you're not, that's awesome. I just want to share my experience with you guys because I know that the few of you who watch these videos that are more about these emotional, mental healthy kind of how to work, the mindset of work, rather than just hustle and grinding, because hustle and grinding is freaking lame. You guys always are super supportive on these videos, and I know that you at least appreciate them, so I'm really happy to make them for you and for myself, because it's just good to have an outlet sometimes to talk about these things. So I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you want to watch another video like this, I think I'll link a couple of them. I don't know which they will be, but also I'm gonna have if you're still here, I'm gonna have a upload schedule coming soon, probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, trying to get ahead on some content so that I'm better about this and more able to enjoy my life. Okay, bye.